you ever witnessed a situation which came out to really be witchcraft? And then they say witchcraft can do a lot of things. And I ask myself, why is it that there are wars if witchcraft can do it? Why is it not possible for somebody to use the witchcraft and just bomb the other person out of the surface of the earth and let the world continue to live in peace and harmony?
Okay,
well,
maybe, we are streaming now. We are
streaming. Okay.
So you can go ahead and start, and Father Fomukong will be joining us shortly.
Okay, I will go ahead. I've already said that the topic is witchcraft and superstition. Good afternoon and welcome from wherever you are. Please zoom in and join us to discuss this topic, witchcraft and superstition. I know I've talked about it already, so I will just go ahead now with the editorial which I prepared for this occasion, for this topic today. So greetings and welcome to Africa Online's live broadcast on this second Sunday of October. A Sunday marking the beginning of another work week, a Sunday full of expectation after the challenges and promises of the last week, a Sunday on which we discuss a rather bizarre topic. What? A bizarre topic? Yes, a bizarre topic because it is a topic that we hardly talk about, witchcraft and superstition. All the same, it is a Sunday full of expectation, as I said, and a Sunday on which we continue to discuss topics that are pertinent to Africa because we seek solutions, we shed the light on topics, and then we go ahead from there. So, what? Witchcraft? Does it exist? If it does, what is its shape and form? What? Superstition? Does that also exist? Are such things real? Witchcraft and superstition? Can we put shape and form in them? Or are they just figments of the human being's inquisitive mind? Hold it there for a moment, and we will digress. I will digress a minute. I will be back. So, for many of us, news addicts as we are, curious minds as we have, the second week of October did not go quietly into the sunset. Rather, it ended with a blast for the African continent. Ethiopia's Abiy Ahmed answered an early morning, or was it early afternoon call. He lives in Ethiopia, and the news was not just about another band-aid for that horn of African country. No, it was some surprisingly and totally unexpected news. Mr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of Ethiopia for less than 2 years, actually, had just been selected winner of the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize, becoming the 12th African to win the awards, and after 100 years of existence. This is the 100th anniversary of the Nobel Peace Prize. The first African to win that prize, South Africa's Albert Luthuli, won it in 1960. How many years ago? How many decades is that? Okay, well, that is decades before his apartheid-ruled country became a modern democratic enterprise or entity. According to Norwegian Academy, the Norwegian Academy that awards these peace prizes, Mr. Abiy Ahmed, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, was awarded the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts to, quote, achieve peace and international cooperation, end of quote. On receiving that Friday afternoon call, he said, I feel humbled and thrilled. Back in the 1980s, Ethiopia made news, but not for such a thing as receiving a Nobel Peace Prize. No, it was something else. It was something that put Ethiopia not on the bright side of life, but on the drought-stricken piece of land or geography that we know that happens from time to time in that part of the country, of the continent. At the time, that is way back in the 80s, a team of artists came together for one noble cause. Nobel Peace Prize, Nobel cause. Okay, it was a great team. The greatest collection of musicians, composers, actors, and you name them. The mission was noble and charitable. Lionel Richie started it all off. There comes a time, he intoned, when we hit a certain call. Together with Stevie Wonder, they sang Why? When the world must come together as one. Stevie Wonder sang Why? There are people dying. And Paul Simon issued an invitation. Oh, and it's time to lend a hand to life. Kenny Rogers joined him, and together they sang, the greatest gift of all. Alone, Kenny Rogers continued, we can't go on pretending day by day. James Ingram continued that someone somewhere will soon make a change. Tina Turner then chimed in, we are all a part of God's great big family. The catchphrase at one of my school's sites reads, coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. So in our world of today, we come together for different purposes. We keep together because the purpose is urgent and needs to be met. And we work together because we must see that that purpose becomes reality, that we must work together to ensure success. Working together, ensuring success is often so challenging, but it challenges us all because we have to work together. So requiring that we keep ego aside, forget our individual attitudes and prejudices, and understand that every mission we undertake is larger than our individual selves. That said, that is why in all we do, we must recognize the fact that superstition and superstitious intents, witchcraft and all such things are not of this world. And if he has overcome the world, he in capital letter, capital H-E, and if he has overcome the world, then all we need to do is face the future, stay the course, and ensure that success crowns our every action. Can we ensure success? Can we reap good results? And can we live life to the fullest if we trust rather in things like superstition and witchcraft? What is superstition? What is witchcraft? One coin with one side, or one coin with both two sides like every other coin? At the height of his musical career, I may dare to say, Michael Jackson sang, "Heal the World," because he believed, as many of us do, that there is a place in your heart, and I know that it is love, and this place could be much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there is no need to cry. In this place, you will feel there is no hurt or sorrow. Those are Michael Jackson's words, not mine. Yes, we can only heal the world or reach out and make a difference if and when we consider superstition and witchcraft as things strange and unworthy of human acceptance. We can only embrace that noble and charitable mission if we trust each other and shun witchcraft. We are told that witchcraft, quote, can be difficult to define with precision, end of quote, mainly because, quote, it varies culturally and societally. And of course, therefore, cross-cultural assumptions about the meaning or significance of the term witchcraft should be applied with caution. The believer's roadmap, the Bible, tells us in Leviticus 26, quote, I will set my face against anyone who turns to mediums and spiritists to prostitute themselves by following them, and I will cut them off from their people, end of quote. Several other cautionary verses can be found in the Holy Book, the Bible. All we have to know and be able to do is to eschew superstition and witchcraft because they are not worth their salt in any way. So let us trust our Creator and rely on his word, not superstitious beliefs and or witchcraft. Let us, in Michael Jackson's words, heal the world and make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. Because all we know is that his hands are open, receiving us, counseling us, comforting us, and giving us the reason to be here. As he put us here with a reason to do something. I believe Reverend Franklin Fomokong is now on the line. He is going to be our main guest, but we are all guests on this program today. What is witchcraft? What is superstition? Are these the faces of the same coin, or how do we embrace this topic? Is Reverend Fomokong on the line?
Yes, he is. Reverend Father Fomokong is on the line, so go ahead.
Okay.
So, Father, you're very welcome, and I apologize for my voice. So, Mr. Asonglefac is going to be moderating, if not the entire 95% of the show.
Thank you.
Reverend, you're welcome. Please, I know this is a challenging topic, but not for a man like you. So I trust you, and I know that you are going to give us the best. So, witchcraft, superstition, faces of the same coin, have you experienced it? Does it exist really? So, over to you.
Witchcraft.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Witchcraft, superstition are all realities of the human world. Wherever you have human beings, several things are possible: the good, the bad, and the ugly. From the moment evil came into the world, all things that are of the underworld are possible. If I have to go back basically to the beginning of the use of even words, we use the word cult to mean a way of worshiping. And even before we came to know of the God of Jesus Christ, for those who are believers, our forefathers believed in a supreme creature whom they called whatever name they gave in our different dialects. But they believed in a supreme being. But they may not have come to know the God of Jesus Christ. And when they worship that being, it's a form of religion, it's a cult. But when a cult becomes an occult, it means something is hidden. And there are different dimensions to this. I will not really say I'm an expert in this field, but I've read the works of great experts of this field. People like, I'm a priest. I've read the works of people who have done great anthropological research into cultures and into all kinds of ethical analysis, like Father Humphrey Tatambui, who has that as part of his area of specialization. And he has great research works on witchcraft and superstition. There is always something which is not, we are not able to explain. And that's what makes it, that's what gives it the English terminology, superstition. Yet.
Yes. Okay, yeah, go ahead. I will not interrupt you. I'll just let you talk.
Yeah, I'll just talk briefly, then you get back, because I think it's more of an interaction. Yet, There is always that thing which makes us go back to what we are not able to explain. Whether we talk about it from the area of, sometimes we use the word superstition, witchcraft. It could be packaged or repackaged in different words. Sometimes they call it magic. In Europe and over the seas, they will call it white magic. And they will think that what actually happens in Africa is just something which has to be condemned wholly and entirely, and accept the other one because it's called white magic. But it's just a play over words, probably referring to the same reality. If you go back into the Old Testament scriptures, when you look at what Moses did when God asked him to go and free the people of in the land of slavery, he went to Pharaoh and he performed some signs. And Pharaoh also called his own magicians, the people of the Chaldeans. They were known as a great tribe in the field of magic. And they too came and performed signs. But in all of this, God was showing through Moses that he is not using witchcraft. He's using a supreme ultimate power. But about witchcraft, it also exists. I've worked and lived in places where there has been a great exhibition of that. And sometimes you really also have to stand up to your feet, get to understand the people, their culture, their mentality, and their practices, which some of the things they may have taken to be the norm, to be normal. But how do you get them out of that? I've had a whole lot of my own experiences. I can assure you of that. So over to you, Mr. Asonglefac.
You've had your own experiences. Are you ready to share one at least? What have you experienced growing up back on the continent? I know that's challenging. Yeah, because I know. Let me give you a hint here. I know
okay,
that
right. Thank you. I'm happy
back
for
in our
that.
villages, back in our villages, when night falls, they tell us stories about not going out or not doing certain things at night. You don't split firewood in the night. You don't shout out in the night or something like that. Or you do so, something else will happen, and so on and so forth. We grew up hearing these things from our parents and our grandparents. So did you ever live a situation where they forbade you from doing certain things at night because of witchcraft?
Yeah. Because of that, we're given lots of stories. I'm happy with the kind of you are sharing, and you have lots of experiences as an elderly person with that. I'm not sure you may be able to recall. You are able to recall. I know you too well.
Okay, thank you for
I know
that.
some of your but then some of those I call them the fabulae. Some of those stories, because there's a difference between a story meant to teach a lesson and what is actually on the border of witchcraft.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're giving some of those night stories not because our parents themselves actually believed in this power of witchcraft operating at night, because they had no connection to it, but because they were just trying to tell us, don't walk in the night, don't stay up late at night, always get back home before it is dark.
Yeah.
So it was a fabulae, it was a story which they created to impact a lesson on us. It's sometimes only after we have grown mature that we really ask ourselves, what was really in it coming back at night? Absolutely nothing.
That's right.
I had an experience. I was a seminarian still then. I worked in a village, and I had to walk back. It took me about, I'll save the name of the village, but I had to walk back about 2 hours in the night.
Oh,
that
no.
is, I had to walk from about 7 to get back at 9.
Yeah.
And I had been told before that it is not that there are some trees that at night there'll be people on them talking, and no one is supposed to see those people talking at night.
Oh my God.
But here was I'd already embarked on this journey. I'd gone a long way in between the forests. But I know that I was carrying a message that was too good for the kids of that village. And I was ready to arrive. When I got home, I was welcomed with my message, but they received me with a lot of fear. Oh, why did you have to come in the night? You know, there are things like this, but they were saying all of this. I'd already arrived and I did not even see those things.
Yes.
As a priest, I'd worked in another environment where I was told if I have to move from one village to another village, I have to stop somewhere in the forest, perform a certain ritual of a dance, cut the leaf from one side of the road and throw on the other side before I continue. That's what everybody did.
Yeah.
And they were a bit uncomfortable that I did not perform this ritual because they did not know what was going to happen to me. I was in another village where when the oldest person died, they are all supposed to tie a piece of what we call the Bahama grass on your hand.
Yeah.
No one attends the funeral without tying that Bahama grass on your hand. And everyone was moving to that place for the wake keep. I had to join them. I had to be part of the community. And on our way, there was a discussion. Who was going to tell me that I needed to tie this grass on my hand? I realized there was some mumbling. There was some mumbling among them, but nobody was talking to me, but everyone was talking to themselves. So they had to corner the woman in whose house I was living, a very good woman, that Naya picking that to tell you, so that makes something not happen. They said it not be tell you. This woman walked to me, struggled with some nice words. She already had this grass in her hand, and she was like, we are not really saying that something will happen, but then everybody has this grass. It will be good if you have it too.
He was a diplomat.
It's part of the culture.
Very diplomatic.
You know? And she gave it to me. But this is the point. When she gave it to me, there was relief. Everyone was comfortable, but I did not tie that grass in my hand. I put it in my pocket. When I told them later on in one of my sermons about this experience and how I put it in my pocket, they were all disappointed.
Of course,
but in their disappointment, nothing had happened to me.
Yes.
But they were disappointed that I did not follow this culture. But like I say, there are some that are fabulae, but there are some that when they become occult, they have some other negative influences and powers that can affect. This is another distinction important to make. Sometimes this, whatever affects who does not abide to the norm or to the law, may not really be out of that thing. It will be another person or a group of people who impose something on you in order to make you feel the impact of not doing what actually had no impact. I don't know if you get this clear.
Yes.
Yes.
I put it out this way. Okay, everyone has to tie a grass in their hand. What is tying of the grass in their hand got to do with the funeral? Absolutely nothing, disconnected.
Yes.
But because you did not do it, some other person may afflict you with poison to prove to the community that he did not tie the grass in his hand. So he is suffering from a poison, not from the not tying of grass in the hand. Because they want to keep that lesson strong enough. This is sometimes what happens in some cases. So we have had all of those stories to guide and to make us feel, sometimes we talk about cultural differences and cultural shocks. I throw one now. We grew up understanding that kids do not cross their legs in front of elders.
Yes.
I ask the question, what has that really got to do? Because if you cross to another culture, kids are told to be gentlemanly, you have to cross your legs. So it is a culture to culture fabrication that becomes a convention for a particular culture.
Yes.
We did not cross our legs.
We did not. For us it was disrespect. If we cross our legs in front of our elders.
Right. Then I come and find myself in a culture where even a kid in elementary school sits with me and crosses the leg and speaks so freely. This kid is oblivious of the fact that it is disrespectful because it's not part of the culture. So sometimes some of these allegations could easily be dismissed by one culture on another simply because they have not had a direct impact or influence about it. Now, let me share another experience of what could have been real.
Okay.
I had this experience in a village where this man had some concoctions and he was putting it on the way between the road linking two villages. And while he was doing that, he was calling the name of somebody and putting all the curses and all of these. This is something I was involved. And after doing all of that, one girl who had just come back from having her shower in the village, she got into her room, and while I was dressing up, she heard this man doing all these incantations. Immediately she finished, she rushed over to tell her dad, and then came over to tell me in the church. Right away, the question now was, somebody has to go to the other village to tell that girl not to come by that road, because all of this has been said over her and for her to have some afflictions. It was actually a poisonous substance. Before they could do that, the man who did this act, one of his cousins, whom he loved so much, actually ran through over that spot. And in less than an hour, this girl had her leg swollen. So swollen, really, really swollen. This man who performed this had already taken off, leaving the village, because he wanted that when the news would break out about the death of the other person, he will be one of those least suspected because it will be like he was not even around. That was the impression he wanted to give. When now it affected his own cousin, the news spread out about what was happening, and it got to him. And he asked several questions. Was it like this? Is this how it is? Is this how she feels? And all of those, he was given promptings to feel whether it was an effect of the same thing he did. Yeah. Then he realized his cousin had landed into the trap which he prepared for another person. This man came back to the village, came and met this girl, both legs so swollen. And he alone drove everybody out, got in, got a blade, cut this girl's leg like from her thighs right down, any amount of hurt with a blade. He did that.
Yeah.
Immediately he did that, he left. This girl's leg, the swollen leg, came back to normal. And this man died that same evening.
Wow.
This is what it means by the occultic being exposed. Whenever it is exposed, there is always a price to pay.
Yes.
Because it has to deal with life. The devil is the kind of person who always gives you all the cards to play, but the devil always keeps the joker, the J, and those relevant cards that he must win.
Yes.
And you will always be the loser no matter how much you have. But so you have all of these. These are village superstitions, imaginations, beliefs, and practices. But when we talk about witch, being a witch or a wizard, it has to do with something which is demonic. Because you will bear with me, in the last conference, I don't know if you know about this, the last conference of witches and wizards was in 2005 in November in London.
Wonderful.
They had a conference. And what was some of the themes they expounded on? God is not real. Man has to take control. So it is demonic. Yeah. When it comes to being demonic, having to do with the word demon, then it has to be something real because the devil is real. But it has to be a distinction between demonic and what is just to deter us from doing wrongs now and then or not staying out at night and all of that.
Yes, not to cut you short, just take a breather. There's a question from one of our participants, Mr. Felix Anoma. He wants to know why witchcraft triumphs in the villages but not in cities like Washington, D.C. If he's live, maybe he could ask the question himself and phrase it in his own way.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, Felix,
I'm live. That's my question. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Of course. I grew up in that culture. So I know about it. I know the stories. We talk about it. We love these stories. I live here in Washington, D.C. I like somebody to show me how something works in Washington, D.C. It can work in Bali. It can work in Cameroon. Show me how it works in Washington, D.C. Then I can believe it.
Now, like I said, this is not something which I'm not an expert. We are sharing in it. But I have experiences, right? Like I said, if it has to do with witchcraft, witches and wizard, which is demonic, it is universal. It may be packaged in different appellations. Let us go back to something which I watch here. Well, I am not a great person on TV, but I watch it because I have to keep track with, especially the young people with whom I'm involved in apostolic. Look at something they call, what's that thing? America Got Talent.
Yeah.
Let us be sincere. There are certain things that are talent, there are certain things that are magic. But when they package it well, we receive it. If a child at the age 5 could sing and come and sing Handel's Hallelujah, that is talent. Or a little child could play the organ with such exuberance. That is talent. But when you see people cut the kind of things which we see there, and we just say they've got talent, it's magic displayed. But what would they call it? They'll call it white magic. And when they call it white magic, it becomes superior to what we go through. It is just a repackage. There was a write-up that came up recently about there's this show they call Big Brother. I don't know who is familiar to it. I'm not a great fan to it. There's this show they call Big Brother. Big Brother Africa, Big Brother Nigeria. And the symbol of it is an eye. And there's a whole write-up spreading out now, which is making some of our kids to regret having been fans of it. But it is somebody they do not know. But at the end, somebody always wins big money.
Yes.
But I told them from my own research, well, Big Brother did not start in Africa. Big Brother started in Mexico. Then it was banned. Then I think it went to Italy and it was banned. And then we have embraced it. There's always somebody behind who is working on it, whom no one knows and no one has ever seen. But that's a repackaging. However it may be, I cannot draw a conclusion. Yet I will say, why do we have to wonder with things which we cannot have full, clear knowledge about them? That is my own impression, sir.
Okay. Felix, I think you have a follow-up question. Felix,
yes, the follow-up question, of course, the follow-up question is, there's a big difference between magic and witchcraft.
Father Fumakon?
Can you hear me?
Go on, please.
Hello?
Yes, please go on.
There's a big difference between magic
yes,
and
sir.
witchcraft.
Yes.
When you watch a magician, you know that he's doing a trick. You know that he's doing a trick. That he has like mirrors and stuff that he's going to try to fool you. You are happy being fooled. You are just happy being fooled. But the thing with witchcraft is, so what's the difference between witchcraft and magic? Magic is you know that guy's fooling you. But witchcraft is something that we try to believe in, and I don't want to believe in witchcraft. I do believe with magic. So I'm trying to figure out a difference between magic and witchcraft.
There is a very big difference, sir. Very big.
Good.
We can watch a magician perform for the purpose of entertainment.
True.
And that's why I said, when we delve deep into the area of witchcraft, and we have to deal with the word, I keep going back, because that word demonic, when it becomes demonic, it means the devil is involved. That's the name.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I just interrupted you because for some reason, people who are religious like myself and you, we always accept witchcraft. Every religious person accepts witchcraft. That's an issue right there to me. Why can't we separate witchcraft from religion? Why do we always have to accept that there is witchcraft because the Bible says so? Or there are demons because the Bible says so? I could say I'm a Christian and I don't believe that stuff. I don't believe that it works. Because I challenge people who practice it and talk about it 24/7. Come here and show it to me. I will show you that it's magic. I'll show you that it's not witchcraft. You just performing magic.
Let me ask a question.
Okay, let's answer.
Are we by this denying the existence of demons?
That's another conversation.
That for me is very linked.
All right.
That will be another conversation for a different forum.
That for me is very linked.
On a different platform.
Because the power of witches and wizards, the power of witches and wizards has to be something demonic. That's why it is different from magic. If it gets to be demonic, I don't know. That's where I'm going with the precision. If it gets to be demonic, it means they are operating within the court of the demon.
But you can agree on that stuff. You can like that stuff. You can be fascinated. There are magicians. There are witches all over the world. There are witches all over the world. They have conferences all over the world. Shakespeare talks about it. It's in the Bible. Shakespeare, everybody talks about it. The question is, just because people talk about it, it's a fascination. There's another word for a fascination. But the question is, Can you sit here in my living room in Washington and show me how somebody flies in the air? The answer is no, you cannot. We can talk about it and laugh about it and be passionate about it, but you cannot show it. You cannot prove it to me. Can you cast a spell? We talk about casting spells all day. Can you show me how you can cast a spell to Donald Trump? Can you do that? The answer is no.
Sir, like I said before, we are sharing experiences to come out to something. I think that there are two things here. One, the aspect of magic put aside. Magic is something, it's some kind of display which sometimes is hidden behind our back, and the person makes us entertain. That's what we used to do with what they call even some of these circus entertainment.
Yes.
But I am pointing out something about witchcraft, linking it up to being something demonic. If there is a distinction there, then I will back off. But if there's a link there, that's what I'm talking about.
What's the definition of a demon?
The devil.
Oh, there is silence. Yeah, okay. Father, go ahead.
The devil. The devil.
What is the devil?
It's the devil. Go to the scriptures. When Jesus cast out demons, he casted out demons. What did the people say? It is by the power of Beelzebub, whom they understood as a prince of demons, that was casting it out. And he said, a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. Therefore, I am of a different kingdom, and that is of a different kingdom. He made a decision of two kingdoms there. There's a demonic kingdom of evil, and there is the kingdom of goodness. Beyond this, I will not be able to stand against the scriptures. My humble take.
Okay. Yeah, we have another caller on the line, another participant on the line who wants to intervene. I think she's calling, or she said zoomed in from Senegal. I think it's Dr. Vivian Kumba. She's in Dakar, Senegal, I believe, if it is Dr. Vivian. Dr. Kumba, are you the one on the line? Please zoom in, ask your question. Dr. Kumba, are you getting me?
Yes, I am. Good evening or good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to us. Good evening to you. So, yes, in Dakar, Senegal, are you?
Yes, I am, and I'm in some other setting that is difficult, so I can't use my video. But
okay.
But I have been trying to follow this. I was not in on it in the beginning, but at this I've been trying to follow what Father Franklin has just been saying in the last few minutes. It is not possible that we want to compare witchcraft to magic, because they are very different. That's exactly the first thing. And the second thing is that we should not doubt the existence of demons and start wondering what are demons, because they exist and they operate. The only difference that may be for us who say we are Christians or who are Christians is that we may not know how it operates, and we may not be interested in knowing how it operates. But those who want to know, it operates. You know, first principles, the first thing is, if it has a name, then it exists.
Really? Like Nyongo exists, right?
That's the first principle.
Logically.
Logically, because it has a name.
I do science, and I try to do most things by and evaluate most things by first principles. If it has a name, then it exists. If you are concerned about
Nyongo exists,
what you should do,
Nyongo exists,
look at
because
the
it has a name
as it is.
It does.
Yeah, it exists because it has a name.
It does.
Because
it does.
Named by man.
It's demonic. It's just different names of schools.
So tell me how Nyongo works, because the name is
man.
It's demonic.
Give the lady a chance, please.
If man, you see, when God created man, he gave man the chance to name all what is around him the way he wanted to. If man has given a name to anything, then that thing exists. That's my first opinion. My second opinion is that because it exists, and because we want to be able to worry about it or think about it, it befalls on us, especially as individuals, to check out what it is very carefully. Because if you are not involved in demonic activities, it is probably because you have even checked it And in your mind, you know it is not good for you. That's why you're not involved in it. Because those who are involved in those activities, they exist. They exist. I want to be able to say that when I was told last week that we will talk about witchcraft and is this superstition today? I was very
witchcraft
interested
superstition.
I was interested in it. Though I got too busy during the week and didn't even this evening could not zoom in on time. But I want to say that witchcraft and superstition are very real experiences for us as human persons. There are two categories of people: those who are perpetrators and those who are victims. We could define the third category: those who are indifferent.
Right.
But to say it doesn't exist or to doubt how it functions and expect somebody to experiment it for you or demonstrate it for you is not fair.
Does not take away existence.
It is not. It's not a very good idea, because I will give you an example. I come from a place in Africa. In my village, when we were growing up, we knew that so and so mother in so and so compound is a witch. If you dare go and tell her that they say you're a witch, what do you know? Do you know? She will demonstrate it for you, and the demonstration for you will be so scary you don't want to live after that. So it is not a good thing. I advise adults usually, don't, as they say in French, don't taquiner, don't tease. Okay, the word in English is tease. Don't tease people. Don't tell somebody, can you show me what witchcraft is? If they show you, you will not like it. Because there are ways of showing. There are ways that people show it. The second thing is
Dr. Kumba, not to cut your line of thought, I have a live experience when I was in Sase College. I went with a friend to visit the parents in Buiku, that's a village on the slopes of Mount Cameroon behind Sase College. And we started talking about things, and then we got to talk about elephants. We were talking about elephant dance, I think. And I just casually said, well, but I've never even seen an elephant. On our way back to the college, we were on foot at 6 p.m. My friend stopped me abruptly and said, just look. And Lord and behold, there was an elephant standing in front of us. And he told me, just keep quiet, don't move. I didn't move. The elephant vanished on its own. And we continued our journey to Sase College. But later on, he told me that I had said that I had not seen an elephant, so the father wanted me to see an elephant. So that's a live experience I witnessed. So, Dr. Kumba, go ahead.
Thank you for your story, because that story brings me to say that those people who practice these things of witchcraft, those who are witches and wizards, they have something called totems. That elephant could be that man's totem.
Yeah.
There's something called totem.
Yeah.
Humans turn into animals and do things with those animals. When I was in high school, I still remember, I don't want to say the name for obvious reasons, but I still remember very well that we had a classmate, in Lower State, we had a classmate who used to change into a white horse. And she did not have control over it because it had been given to her by her grandmother. On her deathbed, her grandmother bewitched her with that, and that was supposed to be a gift. And the only time she knew she had been out in the night with her white horse was when she would get up in the morning and feel that her feet and her hands were moist and had soil. Then she would know she had gone out. And the village, I won't call the name of the school, but in the village, there was a town crier one day who came out and said, there's a white horse that comes in the night to come and eat cocoyam in the farm. We will kill it. That girl carried herself to that village and saw the villagers not to spare her. I think they even helped her to exercise her of that thing. These things exist. Growing up as a child, as a young person, I have visited, when I was a young person, I visited a couple of villages. In some villages, back home, in some villages, what used to happen was that somebody can be sick, very sick, and of course, when I was much younger, healthcare was not as available as it is now. Somebody will be very sick, then it will be considered that another person is making that the sick person sick, and then the person who is making the sick person sick will confess and wash their face, and then use the water or something to wash the chest or the face of the other person, and say an incantation in the vernacular, and the person will stand up from that bed. That's not magic. That's witchcraft.
Yes.
Dr. Kumba, can I just make two? Please, can I just make two things that before you?
Sure. Father, go ahead.
Go ahead.
One, I think that not everything works within the realm of rationality. That's one point. Two,
correct.
To say a thing does not exist because it has not been proven to you as you goes far into what we call the personal empirical knowledge. It has to be proven to you to be. And next, America or Europe is not a summary of the world. That a thing is not happening in America does not make it non-existent. Like our CNN will say, whatever CNN does not cover. CNN says whatever CNN does not cover did not happen. That's what CNN says. And who says, how much can they cover of all that happens in the world? Next, I want to go back to a scholar. Albert Camus says, to call things by the wrong name is to add to the world's misfortune.
Thank you. And that's correct.
To call things by their wrong name is to add to the world's misfortune. You cannot say something does not exist because you have not experienced it. I will not say until I'm able to go to the land between Jerusalem to Samaria to see River Jordan. It means River Jordan does not exist because I have not seen it. Its existence does not depend on my experience.
No, it does not.
It doesn't. Who am I in the whole cosmos put together? So there is knowledge that goes beyond what we have been able to grab, because there are people operating in that field. That I cannot cast a spell on Donald Trump. A spell must not be cast on Donald Trump to make spell real.
Yes, Father. If I can say something more to what you are saying, that's why I started by saying that first principles, because for me, it's a matter of first principles in life. Because if you don't use I use first principles for my purposes because I know it works for me well, because that's how I learn, and that's how I'm able to use an inquisitive mind and get to the number of things I know outside what I call formal education. But to even say that these things of witchcraft and superstition do not exist in America and Europe is a joke. The best film of witches I ever watched is a British film. And I don't think that people can sit in a society and act what the British acted in that Witches. That is the title of the film, Witches. I don't think they can act that without having it in their society. So let's not fool ourselves. If I'm not experiencing or seeing it, let's not say that it doesn't exist. It is there. It is there. If you go look for, I may be able to get more information about that. I watched that film a very long time ago when we were still watching videos. Now everything is CD and whatever. I don't even know whether it still exists. But there is a film called Witches. The Witches. Yes,
I watched that myself.
With all that kind of thing. And it's acted in Britain. It's acted in the UK.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So these things exist. My thing about it is that we should know that it exists. We should know that it is important for us to have a certain awareness of it, because it can come at us, not necessarily or knowingly to us, but it can come at us. And therefore, not to say that we should be paranoid and be afraid, but let's just know that it's a possibility that somebody can bewitch somebody. Somebody can hurt somebody with witchcraft. A demon can hurt somebody. I mean, even in practice, in my medical practice, there are reports of psychiatric situations that were due to demonic presences. So we cannot run away from it. Somebody is completely psychiatric, is suicidal, and then they come and do exorcism for that person. Exorcism means somebody who knows what to do prays for them to take out those demons, and the person is healed. Not a tablet is taken. Those things have been reported. So
Dr. Kumba, Father Fumuka, Felix, we will take a little break because Reverend Pam has to make an announcement at the top of the hour. I want her to, I know her voice is scratchy, to be able to fix that voice by talking so that by the time it is top of the hour, she'll be in the real mood to make the announcement at the top of the hour. We are discussing witchcraft and superstition on Africa Online. Reverend Pan.
I thank you, Nia. So I'm enjoying myself. Father, thank you so much for joining us. Notice, somebody was saying that the witches were angry about this show, so they tried to delay the start of the show.
Yes.
The prince of the power of the air. But my brother Felix is on fire. But before I make the announcement, I know because I'm in a ministry that my senior pastor has deliverance ministry. So I've seen manifestations of people manifesting like serpents doing deliverance. However, my thing is, and I'm going to post this to Reverend Father Fomokon and Dr. Kumba can join. They had some people that zoom in, but they did not turn on their video audio. So I don't know if they thought we were ignoring them or what. But I just want to say, when you zoom in, turn on your video. Dr. Kumba, I don't know if you know your video is off. You did that on purpose. But if you want to be seen or heard, turn on your audio and your video. We do that on purpose because we don't want somebody to zoom in and they're in their pajamas or their nightgown, or maybe naked and the whole world sees their nakedness. So we want people to turn on their video. Mr. Norma, your video is not on. I don't know if you did that on purpose too, but we would like to see your face. You're handsome, you're a very good looking man. But my question is, after the announcement for the Franklin first, Dr. Kumba, Brother Felix, when we're growing up, they kept saying Bamenda people have thunder. Some people said that but if people can turn you into a swine. Yeah, there go my handsome brother. Then Tombe people, they had all kinds of scary stories. My thing is, where are all those witches now and wizards with all the bloodbath in Cameroon? Like I said last week, if Bamenda people had thunder, that would be the most powerful nuclear weapon. And that's what America would have used during the Cold War against Russia. So, okay, why have they not sent thunder to kill all these military people? Or why have they not turned them into pigs? So that's my question. All those things we're hearing growing up. But I'm not saying that witchcraft doesn't exist. I've seen manifestations, demonic manifestations in ministry, but I still don't believe anybody, me personally, nobody can turn me into an animal. The only way I feel like, unless you give the witches a power, unless the edge of protection around you is broken, then they can do that. I know children of God can be oppressed, but they cannot be possessed. People who don't know Jesus or who don't have a personal relationship with Christ, you are exposed. But let me go into the announcement. We're going to do kind of a sister topic because of the fire that was generated by this witchcrafting. We're going to be talking about homosexuality. Starting tomorrow. The first time we handled homosexuality, some people took it so personal. They got so angry about it. How can we Africans talk about homosexuality? We know it exists in Africa. We know it exists everywhere. We know it exists among Africans. Even some of our young children are engaging in it. We must talk about this. We cannot keep quiet about it. We need to educate our people about the spirit of homosexuality, which God himself considered an abomination. That's what we're going to be discussing starting tomorrow on the WhatsApp forum, and then at the next Sunday show. And I'll invite everybody here to dial in. Yes, Father, we have a WhatsApp forum. They're too busy. I'm not going to add you to the forum. With that, we discuss all these topics. There's several exchanges. Our brother Felix is active. He's been one of our pioneer members for 3 years. But, we're not able to share all that because there's a lot of discussions. But we want people to dial in and zoom in. And we're also needing help with streaming. I am streaming this. I'm not an IT person. We need help with streaming the show. The Zoom doesn't cost our participants anything. Prior to us going to Zoom, some people stopped dialing because of the cost. Their carriers were charging them. Now it's free. So let's share the message. And again, I apologize for my voice. I'm going to hand back over to Father, to address the question I just asked, then Brother Felix, then Dr. Kumba, and Nia Song. Please, I won't be able to speak again for the rest of the show. My voice. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Thank you for making sure that you were here and that you participated, even with a scratchy voice. Father Kumokon, please. She asked a number of questions there, so I believe you took notes. So please address those. Then we'll go to Dr. Kumba and then to Felix.
Asonglefac, I don't know if the many questions now include like what she's talking about homosexuality.
No, that is for next week.
All right.
Yes.
Father, my question was just
about where these powers are.
Yes.
In time of this. If we go back into the detailed study of my study on all of this went as far as when I was covering a course on African traditional religion, where one of the great scholars and writers of African traditional religion, Dr. Mbiti, just passed away a few days ago. He had been a great scholar in that field. And when you look at the powers that is said to have been in some of our cultures, the truth is that some of these powers were not given to people for the purpose of doing harm. They possess some of these powers to protect, to be custodians of the tradition. And that's why one man cannot just walk out of a traditional council or a juju house and go and just kind of put the town into confusion. Because some of those things were given by the people, and these people who have them were just custodians. And so you can't just say, okay, things are going bad, you just come out on your father who belongs to this strong juju house, just gets up, goes and puts on his juju clothes and comes out and begins to kill everybody. It will work against him, because some of those were actually given for the protection of the culture on a good purpose. When evil gets into that which is good, the action turns out to be wrong. And that is why I will still hang on to the word of that which is demonic. That which is demonic, nothing lasting good can ever come out of it. Whether people, you talk about it, like particularly, it's like even until today, some people feel rejected or they feel ostracized just because of where they come from. You know, sometimes you come and tell, I've been in a situation where people have come to me as a priest to say, oh, Father, my child has come and presented me a man from Oku. Father, we don't want Oku. And I asked, what is wrong with Oku? No, Father, we don't want Oku. Because there are stories about those cultures that have just made everyone feel that everyone from there is a witch. And probably this child has not even been to Oku. Take Mutengene. They say a child from Mutengene, and everybody's like, wow. Because there's a certain connotation that goes with the city, with the town. And people think everyone from there is a 419. It's not true. So some of these practices, it will depend from which angle they operate on. That which is really evil is evil. That which is not could just be some kind of traditional entertainment. That's the most I can say about that. And
Dr. Kumba from Dakar, Senegal. Yes. Father, thank you. Take a sip of water. Dr. Kumba in Dakar, Senegal.
Dr. Kumba, your mic is not on. Dr. Kumba.
Yes. Turn on your mic.
Let Felix go first. I'll send her a text.
Okay. All right. Is she on now? Okay, Felix, please.
My take on it is that those things are there. Like Father has said, some of those things were not really meant to be used for evil. They were powers that people were keeping them as custodians, but for the protection of the community. We are Christians, and we know that for every good thing that God has made, the evil one has had to turn into evil. That's how some of those powers have turned into evil. But that said, at the same time, as they have turned into evil, They are not properly studied to be able to be harnessed and used like what has been studied scientifically. Because if you could harness them, they would do some of those things you're talking about. But they cannot be properly harnessed because even those who are custodians of it may not understand the principles very well. Even if they understand, they are not able to hand them on in a useful manner in that sense. But I want to give an example here that when I was in primary school and I studied the history of my village, we were taught in school, and I think it was a true story, that in the war with the Germans, the fun of the village used to do a mixture. I won't tell you the composition of that mixture. We were told at that time, but I won't say it now. But he used to do a mixture, drink it, rub it, and become bulletproof. No, that's how he was able to defeat the Germans in those days. That is what we call power. But the problem now is, if he now converts it from being useful in the community to doing evil, then it becomes evil. It becomes witchcraft. It becomes negative. This is what we are saying. It is when it is demonic, like Father Franklin was saying earlier. Nothing useful can come out of something demonic or evil.
No way.
They cannot channel it for the good of the community. It's destructive instead. They cannot channel it for the good of the community, and this is where the problem is. So these things are there, but they just, and I think that from the little I know, Father Franklin, luckily he is there who can tell me if I stand to be corrected. The devil, the evil one, does evil for evil. There is no chance to have pleasure. So how do you even dare to use his evil pursuit to do something good? It's not possible. That's my thinking.
It's a contradiction.
So that's
it's a contradiction, Father, because he just does evil for evil. He's a depraved being. Evil is a deprivation. It's an absence of good. So how does good come in again from there? It doesn't come in. Evil is a state of deprivation.
So, Felix, what's your point of view at this time? Not that you've been convinced, because you don't have to be convinced. You're grown up, you know what you believe in. Just add knowledge so that we understand the topic better. Felix, are you still with us?
I'm here. Was that a question?
Yeah, I was just giving you the microphone and saying maybe you have something to add or to subtract, but
I added something to the forum. I added something to the forum. We enjoy talking about these things, but nobody can show me one practical example. You don't have to prove it to me. If you have a problem with Donald Trump, just do it. Let me see it. Do it to Paul Biya. Let me see it. But you can't. So why am I going to believe in something that you cannot even prove it to a 5-year-old kid? You can't. If you think that works, show me how you can get rid of Donald Trump. Show me how you can make Donald Trump have a headache just by you concocting some medication or leaves and stuff. The guy who claims to be the magic man or the witchcraft guy in the village, he's the poorest person. He cannot feed his family. He cannot live from Bafochu to Yaoundé without entering a taxi or a Mumeza. Why can't he just fly in the air? Why can't he just fly in the air?
That is the question. Yeah, that is the question.
But
okay. With that said, Father Fomuka, just a minute. I wanted us to take the conversation to a different level now about development. Right. Witchcraft exists. We have superstitious thoughts and feelings and everything. Do these things contribute to development in any way? Father Fomuka start, then we'll go to Felix and then to our lady in Dakar, Dr. Kumba. So, Father, start.
Again, like we have made a distinction between what is good and what is not good. What serves a community purpose and what does not serve a community purpose. What serves a community purpose is what we call development, positive, and outreach. To some extent, we think that people are better from who they are when we count their successes, their achievements. I want to make this point. First and foremost, Success is not a Bible word. Success is not a virtue. Success has to do with the one person or the group of people who have achieved something and it stays with them. I was successful about an exam or a test. I had a successful interview. Everyone may come join, celebrate with me, but it is me. So rather than thinking about being successful, let's think about it being fruitful. What are the fruits? I was reading a book the other day, that was I think 2 days ago, and I came across something say, education without application is simply an abomination. Whatever we learn that cannot be transformed to make human life better is apparently no use. In the area of witchcraft, as we are talking about, whatever cannot make a community better, prosperous, improved, developed. I think what we are imagining here is to say, if there is witchcraft, why did our forefathers not use it to make the whole town to have electricity? That has got to do with its own, I don't know, scientific way of generating power. And that is how it works. What they have used, I will not go into tell you the different cultures, because the world is a multiplicity of cultures. And this we must accept. The world is not one culture. That's why there are cultural differences. When we move from one place to another, we get cultural shocks. And I will not be able to move from one culture to another to say what they have done or not done with theirs or what they have been able to achieve with theirs. But then we still have those kinds of stories of what people have said on how they have used some of these powers in order to be able to protect an entire village. That is apparently enormous. It must not be building a flyover from Jang all the way into Lebialem. Then we'll say now their power has worked. But the people tell the story how they have been protected. If you go to the people of Bakurik, I did part of that studies too. They'll tell you how during the battle, the god of the mountain, Epasamute, provided them with food. These are their cultural stories.
Yeah.
And I cannot simply just rubbish it because it has not been empirically proven in the Western world. The Western people have their own culture. But over and above, two things run around about the world: the good and the bad, God and the devil. So
that is your take.
I would like to get what you have to say on that.
Let's go to Dr. Kumba in Dakar, Senegal.
Near some Dr. Ogoji is on. Give him some time before we go.
Oh, okay. Dr. Kumba, just hold on. Let's get Dr. Ogoji. He's just come in, and I know he's originally from Nigeria, but transferred to Cameroon to America. Dr. Ogoji.
No. Dr. Ogoji is a Cameroonian born in Bamenda.
Okay. Accepted.
Right
Dr. Ogoji.
Yeah.
How do you say?
Okay. So I am a Cameroonian, I am Nigerian. So I'm two citizens, I'm African.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So we talk about witchcraft and superstitions and their power. It is a very, very important aspect of African life. My take on this is that it sometimes has come to be with the people. Has it been proven? No. Can it be proven? No. However, if you believe in it, then it works for you. If you don't believe in it, it will not work for you. So our mind, our health is a mental state. Okay? If I believe that an uncle from Nigeria or from Cameroon can use remote control to mess with my brain, that will come to pass. If I believe that is not possible, it's not possible. Why did I say so? I like telling this story briefly. When I finished medical school, the biggest witch doctor in my village approached me and said, hey, If you want to be rich, I'll give you some juju so you become the best doctor in the world. I said, get out of my face. Get out of my face. He left me alone. Few years down the line, we have a problem. He claimed I'm owing him 500,000 naira. And I fought him and fought him and fought him and fought him. Found out it was resolved in my favor. He did nothing to me. He's a very powerful witch doctor. Then one of my cousins has problem with this same witch doctor, and he said my cousin owed him 1 million naira. The case came up in the family, and they said, did he do something for you? My cousin said, oh, one day I went to him, I said, go pay him. Go pay him. So the difference is this, my family then, or the whole family say, since this man did something for you, you better go pay him because he's going to mess up with your brain. In my own case, the guy can try to do whatever he wants to do. It will not affect me because I don't believe in it. So I believe in God, I believe in Jesus Christ, that's my belief. Witchcraft and superstition go together. They don't exist. I don't stand them. I can't even stand them. So that's my take on this. So your mental health.
Okay, Dr. Kumba, your take.
Yes, what Dr. Goju is saying is very right. But I want to add something to that and say that believing in it is not the same like performing it. I accept that it exists.
Or even its existence.
I do accept its existence. I want to start from the beginning and say I accept its existence. I know it can do, people can use it to do many things. I don't know how to use it. I don't intend to use it. I'm not interested in using it. I don't participate in anything that concerns it, but it is there and it is being used. The other thing is that even if you believe in it, it doesn't necessarily have to affect you. You accept that it is there. You believe that it is there, but you are not actively doing anything with it. Like Doctor just said, somebody wants to involve you in it by saying, "Let me give you this." Those are what I call links. If he gave you something, he will link up with you, and you don't know how you will end. When you deny it, you deny it. It cannot be part of your life. That's the reality. The other thing is that we don't need to be able to prove it for it to exist. I really want to insist on this issue of proving it. I give you an experience. I have a nephew. When he was 9 years old, he went to school and he was taught the theory of evolution. At 9, he was doing doctrine as a Catholic catechumen. He was getting ready for baptism. He came home and said, "Auntie Vivian, you are a medical doctor and you are a Christian. How is it possible that they would teach me in school that monkeys were changing into man?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Last week the catechist told me that God created man instantly. So what type of contradiction is that?" You cannot prove these things to a 5-year-old, to a 10-year-old. This boy is asking this question at the age of 9. It's not about proving these things. The fact that I cannot prove it to him doesn't mean that evolution was not a theory that was established, even if it has been debunked in a way. Let's not worry about proving what is there. Let's worry about our attitude towards it, our own interest or non-interest in it, and how it can affect us. That's my take.
Okay, Father Fumoka.
Can I make a logical analogy?
Go right ahead.
A child exists in the village or the town of Kerala, in one small village of Kerala in India. And this child does not know yet of anything about America, has no knowledge of a currency called dollar. To this child, America is not even one of the countries the child knows of. Does it take away the existence of a currency called dollar?
No.
Nope.
Okay, over. Thank you.
Well,
okay.
Well, I totally agree that witchcraft exists. If you practice it and believe it, it affects your life. When I was growing up, okay, I came from a very big family. My Ugoji had 12 wives. My grandfather had 9 wives. So Ugoji family were more than 500 in number, and we live in one area. So there's a place just in front of my father's compound where they have a very massive tree. That's where they bury all the forefathers, all I knew. I strongly believe that when I was young, when I'm walking past that tree at night, I said, if this witchcraft is a spirit, my grandfather loved me so much. My great-grandfather loved me so much, they can never harm me. So I was never afraid. I was never afraid going through that place. Some of my cousins say, oh, they bury some people, they will come and run across. But I will go down, and the irony is that particular place is a very big fruit tree, to call it Udara. That tree, we're not allowed to plug it. It falls, we just eat it. I go to that tree by 5 a.m., 4 a.m., so I can get the fruit in the morning. I have no element of fear. Why? Because I don't believe in witchcraft. And so I said, if it do exist, I'm not doubting it. My forefather was not a Christian. He was a good man. Right. He will not let anything evil harm me. So I hold on to my ancestral belief that, look, being his own descendant, I am protected anytime I run that area. And that is my faith. It protects me, God Almighty. But if there's anything outside God, my grandfather will not let anything, my great-grandfather, my great-grandfather, my grandfather will not let anything evil happen to me if I'm in this environment. And that keeps me going. So does it exist? Yes. But the problem is, if you practice it, it becomes a pathological problem in your heart or in your mind. People practice witchcraft that it destroys their family, destroys their marriage life, destroys their children. That's the problem. Avoid it and just do your thing and believe in God. Don't believe that if a child is sick, it's witchcraft. If your business falls, it's witchcraft. If the fire from work is witchcraft, then you are doomed for unending until you go take a psychotropic medication like antidepressant, you never get better.
Okay, this question will lead us to each person saying their last word on the program. Have you ever experienced passing through a place at night and you have goosebumps and your hair stands? What causes that? It's open to everybody who wants to say something and then draw your own conclusion about witchcraft and superstition. Who wants to start?
I don't walk anywhere at night, so that doesn't apply to me.
Well, when you were growing up in Africa, you used to.
I've never experienced that. I've not experienced that.
Dr. Ogoji, yes?
I've not experienced that. I'll take my take. Okay, one of my uncles died 3-4 years ago. I was at a burial. Okay. Before he was put in the ground, I've never a bunch of, owls and other type of birds in thousands. Those came and flew across the compound. I saw that with my naked eyes. I was shocked. Again, what does it mean? I don't know. Was it a coincidence? I do not know. But this guy was about to be buried, and at midday, a bunch of birds, different type of birds, flew across his compound, and everything went down slowly and went up.
Those were angels taking him home.
I don't know.
Okay. Let's go over to the Atlantic coast, Dakar, Senegal, Dr. Kumba.
Yes, your question, I think I would say the experience is a very common one. I have experienced it. But the fact that you pass through a place and have that feeling, in my mind, has a very simple explanation. We live in a world where our world is physical, but we also have a spiritual realm that surrounds us. If you pass through a place, in my thinking, and have that experience that you are describing, there may be some spirits around there. But the question for me in this program, in this discussion of today, the question is whether you know about what is there or you know why you had that feeling. There will be spirits around there. You have that feeling and you pass and you go your way. Before you walk another 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, the feeling is over. Because you don't even know what is happening there, but there's something present. We are surrounded by a spirit world. And this witches and witchcraft thing we're talking about is a spirit thing in some circumstances. So if there are some evil spirits in some corner, you pass there, you will have those good bombs and that chill feeling of chills. Because your spirit is different from their own, you are bound to have an opposite feeling to somebody who like aligns with them or something. Then you have that feeling, but in your innocence and ignorance, you're walking away from them and you have no problem. You know?
All right.
Yes, that's why.
Okay, let's go to Felix now. Let's go to Felix. We'll conclude with Father Famukang. So, Felix.
All right, guys. Well, some of you who grew up in Cameroon, you probably know about Manfe. I grew up in Manfe. That's where people talk about dead people, people dying and coming back and living in the community again.
Yes.
I lived in Manfe. I never saw it once. That's what people talk about 24/7. I had a cousin who moved from a big city to come live in Manfe, so he would see that. We never saw it, but we talk about it. So just because we talk about it does not mean it exists. We talk about it all the time. Me, for one, I use myself like an example. I'm not scared of anything. You can show me any rich man out there, I'll go and talk to him and do whatever he wants, because I'll look him in the eye and tell him he's fake, he's phony, because I don't believe the stuff. I'm done.
Okay, we'll conclude with Father Fumukong. Reverend, please, your last thought so that we conclude the program.
I don't have anything in common with witches and wizards, because they have nothing to inform my life to make it better.
That's right.
I'm not part of the practice, but I also come from a particular culture where these beliefs and practices take place. But it is not what informs my life. I did not get into practices as an individual or perhaps as a family, but man is a localized being. We think, reason, and live according to the culture where we are, where we grow up. What will teaching a child about traffic lights actually mean to a child in a school somewhere in the forest of the Bakosi Highland, who has no road to talk about a car, yet the child has to take classes on traffic lights? That is disassociated from that child's environment. But that is a reality of life, even though disassociated. And so, man that's why today people use the word glocalization. It's a combination of global and the local. I live the whole world by living where I am. And that is my reality. Yet, while that is my reality, I must acknowledge that the world goes beyond just where I am localized. That is glocalization. Living in mind and accepting the beyond.
Thank you so much, Father Franklin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Father Franklin. Reverend Palm, I believe you have the last, you have to pull the string so that the curtain can fall.
No, thank you all, Father. Thank you so much. Brother Felix, thank you. Dr. Ogoji, Dr. Kumba, Mr. Asonglefac, thank you guys so much. And we'll be back next Sunday, same time, same dialing coordinates. Yeah, so.
The topic will be homosexuality. So please, whatever it is, take it as it is. Let us discuss. We do not want to, we're not condemning anyone. We just want to throw the light, shed the light on the topics that we bring up. Thank you all so much. Father Fumukong, thank you, because we called you at the last minute and you answered present. It is great. Dr. Kumba, I knew last week you promised to be here and you came. Thank you very much. Dr. Ogoji, Felix, Reverend Pam, Asonglefac and Nkemleke saying thank you all, and let's make it a date next Sunday. But during the week, please go on our WhatsApp chat room and provide some thoughts. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye.